what happens in this house stays in this house. That's a Black person trope. That is like our anthem, our theme song of life. What happens in this house stays in this house. But see, that's the reason why there is so much abuse and neglect and harm happening, because we would rather preserve the image of, oh, we good over here, than it is to call it out, face it, heal it, and move on. You think you're honoring her by not saying anything to her. You think you're honoring her by allowing her to continue to harm. You're not honoring her by doing that. You're complicit. Standing up to your mother and telling your mother that she's dead wrong and that you are not going to participate in her harming people. It's not you getting in the middle. It is not you taking one side over another. It's you doing what's right. You guys put too much weight and too much uplifting the name mom simply because she's your mom. Someone having the title of mom doesn't give them the key to the city to destroy someone else's life, especially the life they created. Okay, so I wanted to, this has nothing to do with sobriety, sort of, but not, but I really wanted to talk about something that was on my heart, because something that was on my heart that, I have been like really struggling with, over the past like 6 or so, more like 8-9 months actually. And it has a lot to do with my caregiving journey. So as I've talked about many a times, on my social media platforms and on my website even, I've written a lot of articles about it. I became my grandmother's caregiver, over her full-time sole caregiver overnight. And so in that journey, I've gone through a lot of stuff, like a lot, so much freaking stuff. And a lot of what I've gone through changed me. I thought that it was changing me for the bad or for the worse, because there was a moment where I was sitting in and operating from such a hateful space. If you've been kind of on this caregiving journey with me, you would have seen me talk about in videos like, I'm operating from a place of hate and I'm allowing myself to, and I'm glad that I did, because I needed that. That was a part of the process. But I was in a really dark place for a long while. So much damage to my family, to myself, to my health, my physical health, my mental health. Just so much damage had already been done that I'm stuck picking up the pieces of what that caregiving journey did. And again, this is not about my caregiving for my grandmother, because, you know, she's essentially my parent. I've always had a closer relationship with her than I did my biological mother, which is her daughter. As a matter of fact, that is a piece of the reason that me and my mother don't really have that good of a relationship, is because she feels as though that I have always treated her more as my mother than her, my actual mother, and I have. And that's because my grandmother earned that right. She earned that right in a lot of our lives, and that's what has been so disheartening through this caregiving journey, is that my grandmother didn't just love on me. She loved on a lot of her family, and the majority of them, except for her sister, her little sister, her little sister. There's, you know, I've had a little bit of help here and there from other family members, but for the most part, my aunt, her sister, has been on this journey with me, doing what she could to provide me the help that she could. And so, you know, short of her sister, and then she has a brother whom lives out of state. And you have to keep in mind too, my grandmother is 88 years old. Her siblings are in her age range. So we're not talking about, you know, whatever. That's not even about that. That's not what this video is not about that. I have had the help, you know, from afar from her sister and her brother, but particularly her sister. Like, she's my angel. Anyways, my grandmother loved on so many people. It wasn't just me. So when it came time that she needed the care and the love to be poured back into her, damn, I was like, I'm not gonna cry. I'm in such a strong mental place right now. Today, it's day to day, child. This sobriety journey, plus I'm perimenopausal, so it's very day to day. But I don't care. I don't care. If you seeing people cry on the internet bothers you, then you have every right to feel that way, and you have every right to scroll right on past my video. I'm not going to censor myself. Anyways, my grandmother loved on so many people. And when it came down time for her to need people to look back on her, everybody fled. And so witnessing that, and then also experiencing that abandonment, because they didn't just abandon her, they abandoned me. I have been told by family members that I don't matter, that all these other people can't do anything because they have a family and they have kids and they have a job and they have responsibilities and they have obligations and they have all these other things, as if I don't also have that. But through their actions, I have been told that for me, those things don't matter because I don't matter. And for a good little while, I believed that message because it was very confusing for me to have people who I never had a problem with before hurt me like they have for no reason. I had to go into my mind. One thing about me is I'm very self-reflecting. I'm very self-reflecting. And hang on, give me a second. Okay. It's like I don't want to cry, although again, I'm not censoring my message. That's one thing I'm never going to do. Social media will tell you, my family has tried to say little stuff like, get off the internet crying. You know what I say to people who say get off the internet crying? When I'm telling my story, when I'm telling my experiences, my lived experiences, and when I'm sharing my testimony, to help myself, to help my healing, and to help others, when somebody tells me how to manage my traumas and how to manage my healing and how I should go about experiencing my experiences, me, the person going through it. You want to know what I want to tell you? When you tell me get off the internet crying, don't put this on the internet, take it down. Let me tell you what I want to tell you. I want to tell you, fuck you. That's what I want to tell you. Nobody gets to tell me or anybody else how to manage their traumas, how to go about achieving their healing, and how to have that healing be something that someone else can take and they can heal from themselves. No one gets to tell you that. Anyways, I'm sorry. I was like, I'm not going to cry. I'm going to try my best not to cry because this message is not coming from that place. And another thing too, like, even if I cry, a lot of times people don't even know. And I think a lot of people do this. Sometimes when you cry, it ain't even about sadness. I'm the kind of person that when I was a kid, if I was getting ready to get into a fight with another kid, even a sibling or whatever, the first emotion that shows up is tears. Tears are first to come. It's not like, oh, I'm sad, I'm about to fight. It's, I'm really about to knock this kid's head smooth off their shoulders. And for whatever reason, that invokes tears for me. That's what today is. Today, I'm really getting ready to knock some verbal heads off of some shoulders, because there are people that sit around. There are people that sit around in such an ugly place of hate and in their own traumas, and that will silence your, or will try to, because one thing you're never going to get from over here. And I want this to be very clear for the people that you know who you are. You would never silence me. You would never get me to stop talking about my traumas. You would never get me to stop healing my traumas in whichever way that I need. This message is for you. You don't get to tell me. You don't get to dictate. You don't get to do nothing but sit in your evil space and do whatever you do from there. But this over here, I run how this happens over here. And for me, what happens over here is I don't hold anything in. I'm a truth teller. And that's why I have a lot of conflict, because people do not like truth tellers. People like to sit in their darkness and in their lies and in their evil space, and they want to sit in that, and they want nobody to be able to know what's really inside. I challenge that. I don't just go around picking random people to challenge because that ain't for me. But if you come into my world and you try to infiltrate my peace, and then knowing that I know you, I know what's in there, and you come over here to infiltrate what I've created, this safe space for me, oh yeah, the truth teller is going to bring your darkness to the smooth light and fast. Know that. in this journey, I keep referring to it as I have been introduced to strangers that I've known all my life. What that means is my aunt, for instance, I've known her all my life. We had a brief little something back in like when I was in my 20s. And I've always been one to stand up for myself, and I stood up for myself in that moment. We haven't had an issue since then. I've known her. I've been close to her. I've loved her. I thought she loved me. Even times where I would go to her. She's my mom's sister. My grandmother has 2 kids, 2 daughters. The oldest is my aunt that I'm speaking about, and then the youngest is my mom. I've gone to my aunt, about problems with my mom, and just the feelings like, I don't have a mother. I don't have that, because my aunt, one thing about my aunt, and I've told her this, I've said it to her, I've said it about her 1,000 times. She is a good fucking mother. And she is an amazing grandmother. I've always complimented her on that. Always. Whenever I see her, every opportunity I get, I like to tell her that you are such a good grandmother. Because I didn't have that in her sister, who was raised in, because a lot of time, again, very much in my head, my mom and my aunt were raised by the same 2 parents. And although they have a lot of similarities, which I didn't know about until I started caregiving for my grandmother, I now finally got to see my aunts. The ugliness that my mother has inside of her, my aunt has it too. I never saw it though until the caregiving journey started. But prior to that, I would always think, how do you have these 2 women raised by the same 2 people? My grandfather, their father passed away when I was 10. I was very close to him. He was the best, and is to this day the best man I've ever known. I love my granddaddy. But anyway, they were raised by the same 2 parents, right? My mom and my aunt are so different in the way that they parent. And so I would go to my aunt, almost kind of looking for answers. Can you tell me something as to why my mom is like this? You're such a good mom and you're such a good grandmother. Can you explain to me why my mom is the way that she is? And me and my aunt would just have these deep emotional conversations, or I would get emotional a lot. And she would just be like, my family calls me by my middle name, and she would just be like, Sean, I don't know why she's like that. My aunt even said to me in one of the last conversations we had before she introduced me to who she really was, I was having an issue with my mother. Me and my mother, she's been a shitty mother to me my entire life. I like to say, I'm not going to go back into all of that because I made so many videos on it. I just don't even feel like it. But she's been a shitty mother to me. She's been a shitty mother to all of her kids. That's what's crazy. But we're going to get into that in a minute because I have something about that that's going to piss my siblings off. But I need them to know it. I want them to hear it. And I want to look them in their face when I say it because I got a message for y'all. But anyway, she's been a shitty fucking human being, right? God, churchly woman, go to church every Sunday and leave that church as evil as the way she walked in it. And I'm going to stand hard on that. I don't care what nobody say. If you want to get in my comment section and telling me what to say and what to take down, trust and believe me, in the mood that I'm in right now, I'm going to hand you your ass. Go somewhere else. If you don't want to hear what I have to say, no one's holding a gun to your head. Leave my comment section. Leave this video. I'm going through a healing journey right now, and these are things that are on my heart. I don't have to hold them in and keep them into myself because you don't like how they sound. Okay? Anyway, my mother is a shitty person, and that's just a fact. Okay? That's just a fact. Not just to me. She's not just a shitty parent to me. She's a shitty parent to all of her kids, and she's a shitty parent to the majority of her grandchildren too. Right? So anyways, I struggled with this. This has affected who I am today. This has affected the journey that I'm on right now. As a matter of fact, the one and only person I asked for help with my sobriety mission and knowing that I am in really bad shape. I am in trouble with my drinking. I reached out to my mother. This was in July. And she told me, I can't help you. I'm sorry that you're going through these things, but I can't help you. And she left me there. I've not spoken to my mother since that day. For all she knows, I could be in whatever, but you don't see about your child. But are we surprised you don't see about your mother either? Anyway, so I've gone to my aunt. And the last conversation I had with my aunt, when I knew my aunt as I knew her before she introduced me to her real her, she said to me, and I quote, LaShawn, I wish I could scoop you up and take you in as one of mine. So to then have that same person, for no reason, when I ask for help with your mother, you serve me nothing but hate. And then you somehow get my cousins in on it. The one cousin that started the mess of the big day, she don't even live in the state. I hadn't even spoken to this cousin I know exactly the last time I spoke to this particular cousin. The last time I spoke to this cousin was at my brother's funeral. So it had been a year and a half. I hadn't spoken to nothing. So when she reached out to me, like, coming at me crazy, because this was a time when, a quick little backstory, I had been so desperate for help from my family for some respite, just a respite break. I'm the full-time caregiver. I had been asking and begging and cussing and fussing, just help me. They wouldn't, so I started to demand the help. So I got my ass in an Uber and I took my grandmother over to my aunt's house. I knocked on the door. Matter of fact, I rang her ring doorbell. I want to say he's probably was 18 years old at that time. If not, he was close to. Year-old grandson steps outside. I say hello to him. I turn around. I walk away. I get in the Uber. As I'm walking back to the Uber, my aunt yells behind me, "LaShawn, what the hell? What the hell?" I had asked her before I got to the point where I just dropped her off, "I'm begging you. I need your help." She came at me with, "You signed up for this, and now you see you should have left her where she was." Now, where she was, according to my grandmother, I'm just going off her word and her word alone, and the visuals I saw of her house. I sent y'all, I posted a video, go back and watch it, of the status of my grandmother's house that my aunt thought I should have left my elderly, crippled, blind grandmother in, right? So it was like, I didn't volunteer per se. Yes, I said I'll do the bulk of the work, but what choice were we left with? To leave grandmother there to fucking rot, you fucking asshole? No. Yes, I'm gonna take her, and I'm going to assume her children and grandchildren are going to help me. That's a given in my mind. So to her, because I walked out of that space and I took my grandmother and brought her into my home, I'm not worthy of even the most common decency to hear me out while I'm in tears, begging you, telling you how much stress I'm under and how much help I need. And you could just be like, I don't know. 2 times I threatened to drop my grandmother off. The first time I threatened to drop her off, my aunt said, and I quote, and I have these messages still in my phone, in my other phone. She said, and I quote, "Don't you bring her over here." And she hung up on me. I didn't take my grandmother that day because in my mind, I was like, it would took me I was still at a like clutching my invisible pearls. What the hell was that about? And so I didn't take her. It must have been about 4-6 months later when I called her again. My grandmother had dementia and it was progressing. And there's reasons initially I didn't believe that she had dementia. And so I didn't see the symptoms that she was displaying as dementia, but I just saw it as my grandmother is being ornery and just being her. She's always been mean. I'm going to be honest about that. She's always been pretty mean. She's always been very ornery. So I just thought this was just that. You get older. I know that I'm very much like, I'm so stern and ain't got time for it at 45. I wasn't this way at 30. I'm this way now because I wasn't this way at 30 or 35, because I just let people fucking run all over me. And then when I finally started standing up for myself, I went from 0 to 100 overnight, because it's like, now I'm tired of y'all playing in my face. So now I'm coming out chest puffed out. And that's where we are today. But anyway, but it got to the point where my son was having mental health issues. Like my grandmother caregiving for her was just really causing a lot of just mental, I just was crumbling. And you got to keep in mind, I have a 7 and a 9-year-old still. I have 2 adult children. I have my 16-year-old, and then I have little kids. And my thought was, if somebody didn't help me soon, I'm not even going to be able to be here for these little kids to still raise, right? So I constantly would reach out to the family and beg for help and ask for help. And eventually, like I have 2 sisters, one that helped twice and one that helped once, that would step in when they could. But if you've ever been a full-time caregiver, a full-time sole caregiver to an elderly person with dementia, you will know that you need respite multiple times a month. Actually, you need respite throughout the week, every week. And so, anyways, didn't have that. And so I called her and I asked her, and she just was giving me the same, I got to work tomorrow. Now, she had just told me the last time that I had asked for help, which was maybe the last time that I had spoke to her was probably about 2 or 3 months before this. And she said she couldn't help because she has upstairs, downstairs. Her condo was 2-story, and that she had just had surgery, such bad surgery that she was going to be out of work for 6 months, and she wasn't going to be able to do it, even though in her house, her husband, my uncle, I don't know, they've been married, and I didn't know that. My uncle, her adult daughter's big burly teenage son, he was at the very least 18 years old, 17, 18. And then her 2 younger daughters who were older than my 2 daughters, maybe, I don't know, 12, 14, I don't know. What I'm saying is there was enough people there to help. You give me a freaking week off to help me with your mother. That's what I'm getting to, okay? So she gave me that excuse, whatever the case may be. So then when I called her to say, hey, I'm about to drop her off, and it was, no, I got to work tomorrow. Oh, you got to work tomorrow because 2 months ago, you said you was going to be out of work for 6 months with some freaking surgery that you had. Now, all of a sudden, you got to work tomorrow? For real? Okay, I'm bringing her anyway. She was like, don't you bring her over here, whatever the case may be. I hung up. I was like, I don't care nothing about what you're saying. Oh, you gonna help me. That's that. Like I said, I packed her up in an Uber, packed her up a suitcase. I went over there. I rang that Ring doorbell camera. The grandson came out. I said, hello. I walked away. My aunt yelled in the background, LaShawn, what the hell? What the hell? I kept on walking. I climbed my ass in that Uber, and I brought my ass back on home. And she stayed over there for 3 weeks. After about 3 weeks, this cousin that I was talking about before, that I hadn't spoken to since my baby brother's funeral, decides to like reach out, and she was kind of coming at me kind of a little sideways, but I was thinking, okay, she's got one version of the story. She's only got the one side. Surely when I speak to her on the phone, we're going to sort this out. This is going to be sorted out because I have never had a problem with none of my cousins. Surely she and I are going to be able to sort this out. So I was like, oh, hey, girl, this is the energy I'm giving her. Hey, and I got these text messages too. I got the whole text message conversation for every single thing that happened within this 48 to 50 hour period of back and forth. I have them still, just in case anybody wants to question that. Anyways, so this is the energy I'm on. Hey, girl, how you doing? I haven't talked to you in a while. Anyways, I know you probably heard a little bit of what's going on. Child, there's a lot going on. Hey, give me a phone. Give me a call. Here's my phone number in case you don't have it, so I can tell you what's going on. We can go from there, right? She comes back at me, and I'm just paraphrasing right now, but this is the gist of it. She comes back and it's like, I don't even need to talk to you. I just need to know where's grandmother's debit cards and her insurance cards. What do you need that for? Well, because she needs to go to the doctor. Oh, well, that's funny. I was actually going to be reaching out to your mom because she does have a doctor's appointment coming up on Tuesday. This was on the conversation thread started out, I want to say on a Saturday. I want to say this whole thing started on a early Saturday morning. And I was like, oh, it's funny you should mention that because she does have an appointment on Tuesday. I was actually going to have my son, my oldest son, who at this point had a transportation business. And I was like, I'm actually going to have my son come pick her up and take her to her appointment. And then we'll bring her back over there after that, or she can come home, whatever you guys want to do. Why won't you give me her debit card? Why can't we have her insurance cards? Why are you hoarding all of her information? And it's like, what do you need? If she needs something, just let me know. I'm happy to send it over there. No, why are you did it? And it just went left from there. I'm telling that story. I'm telling all of these stories because they bring me to the present time. I am an alcoholic. My alcoholism was triggered. And again, I'm going to say this, and I will say it every time I talk about my alcoholism journey. I am responsible for my alcoholism. I am responsible for all the things that happened or any repercussions I faced as a result of my alcoholism. I am responsible for that. This is not about blaming anyone. No one's to blame for it but me. However, there are triggers that led to the alcoholism. And I'm speaking about a trigger. The trigger for me was becoming the sole caregiver for my grandmother and the grief and mourning of so many relationships. I'm still in mourning. So many relationships with people who I love so much that I had to end for no reason. I don't even to this day know why. I'm at the space now where it may not seem like it, but I really don't care anymore the why, because they're trying to figure out the why. Attribute it to the alcoholism too.
because I just didn't understand. But there are certain things in life I now know that we just won't ever get the answers to. And I'm okay with that. I really am okay with that. And so, anyways, brings me to my current situation. So, and I know a lot of people don't believe in mental health and therapy and all the things. I do. I'm a mental health advocate. That's what started me on my journey. If anybody is wondering why my page and all of my branding is called My Village Has No Elders, it is because literally I have been navigating through life with no elder. Even in my grandmother, before she got, to the point where she needed to be looked after, she was not my elder in a way where I sought guidance or advice or any of that stuff from, because in my family, like not unlike most Black families, we are so dangerous when it comes to mental health. Our dialogues, the way we speak about mental health, the way we speak about people suffering with mental health, the way we speak about what it looks like to get treatment for mental health is so deadly. And it costs so many lives. And so when I nearly lost my battle with depression twice, I learned that nobody in my village was a safe space when I was in that place. And so I didn't seek them out. But there are so many times where I needed an elder for pieces in my life. Right now, I need an elder. Right now, 10, 11-year-old Fronten'a, I'm having to go back and heal all the way back to there to get to 45-year-old me. And it's like one of the ladies who has been very much supportive and reached out to me when I kind of started talking about my sobriety journey. It was funny that she said it because I had already been feeling that. I have already written articles on like needing to heal that child in me, right? And then she said to me when I was just kind of telling her some of the emotional stuff that I've been going through, and she's like, and don't be surprised if, little Fronten'a doesn't show up often. And it just was like, oh my God, like, this is why I'm so glad I share my story, because I have so many people, in this alcoholism journey that have been reaching out and giving me support and giving me advice and giving me knowledge and giving me bits of information and guidance on things that I need that I wouldn't even have gotten. I've been going to AA meetings. I wouldn't have gone to an AA meeting had it not been at the advice and then the guidance of some of the people that have commented. So, I love to share my story. But anyway, I'm having to go back and heal little Fronten'a because I think I identified going way back to my childhood that I never really had an elder. Even when my mother and I were in a good space because my relationship with my mom was good until, and I told her this before and she said this wasn't the case, but that's what I felt then. And I still feel it now. She and I were very good until I got married at 18 and left the home. And I felt as though, and I still feel as though, she resents me for leaving her with her other children because I was the father in the home. There were 9 of us kids. I'm the oldest, and I was the other parent in the home. But I felt so much responsibility to my siblings that I wanted out. I had a boyfriend. I was in love with him. And it was like, well, why don't we, when you turn 18, let's move out. Let's get married and move out. And so I did. I got married on September the 14th. I turned 18 on September the 10th. I got married on September the 14th, which was a Saturday. And I was literally living on my own by that following Monday or Tuesday. We moved out of my mom's house. Well, he moved out of his aunt's house. I moved out of my mom's house, and we moved into our first little apartment, and I was out of the house. I feel to this day that me doing that, my mom has resented me because our relationship changed then, and it's never been good ever since then. I'm 45 years old. So I've gone more of my life having a bad relationship with my mother than I have of having a good one with her. I don't have a good relationship with her. I never have as an adult. We've had like smooth periods, but it's been up and down, smooth a little bit, up and down, mainly down, a little bit up, smooth. It's been shitty, pretty much my adult life. And it's been equally shitty, the relationship she has with my children. My mother has, 12 grandkids. I'm just throwing a number out there. I don't feel like counting. I have 5 of them myself. She would always, almost all the grandkids, the bulk of them are girls. I have the only boys. And my mother constantly says, oh, we need more boys. There are no boys in this family. There are no grandsons. There are no grandsons. And because my mother cherishes boys, and this is just my opinion. This is just my opinion, and being 45 years old with this mother. Of 9 kids, there's nine kids, 7 girls and 2 boys. My mother has always cherished the boys over the girls. Anybody of my family will tell you this, whether they want to admit it or not. Everybody knows this, right? She cherishes boys. Maybe it's just because she had mainly girls. Maybe it's because, she only had this one sister. She never had a brother. I don't know. That's for her to sort out. I don't know. But my mother cherishes boys over girls, excuse me. And so I felt like maybe God's way of trying to like unify us or something is to be like, I'm only going to give this one daughter sons. So if you want to have a son, brother, grandson relationship, you're going to have to go over there to get it. She never did. Which is, I want to say it's fine. It's fine now. It wasn't fine growing up. It still hurts sometimes when I'll see her like being this exceptional. Like, that's why there's another thing too. I'm going to be all over the place with this video because sobriety has gave me such a clarity of mind. Not that these thoughts and things and feelings weren't always there, but I'm able to verbalize them in a clear way than I have in a long time, if ever. I got off of social media. I don't have personal social media. The social media that I have, I use it to build my social media presence, to get an audience, to build a rapport, to help people, to teach people. Because here's the thing, I can scream all day long about, hey, you can live longer if you take care of your mental health. Hey, you're not sinful if you're depressed. Hey, you're not sinful if you have suicidal thoughts. Hey, you can still be a Christian and get therapy. Hey, I can scream that all day, but if I'm screaming it to an empty room, then the message isn't getting to anyone. So you market your message. How do we market today? Social media. That being said, I use social media to share my stories, to help people to know. You don't have to be going through what you're going through. You don't have to suffer in silence. You don't have to put up with your family just because they're your family. You don't have to keep letting people just upset and disrespect your peace. You don't have to keep letting your boundaries be overstepped. Anyways, I use social media for that, to share my story, to not only get my own healing, but to hopefully be a healing to someone else, right? But personal social media, I don't have. I got off personal social media for a number of reasons. The main reason was, the first reason, it wasn't the main, but it's one of the main ones, was the level of racism that was available on Facebook. I had to shut that out. Facebook was my main social media. I'm 45. I'm Gen Z. Girl, I'm Gen X. So we're Facebookers. That's where we're meeting. That's where we're coordinating parties. We're planning bridal showers. We're doing the things on Facebook. But it was just getting to be very, very toxic, for one. And then for two, it would hurt me so much, not even in just my family. It would hurt me in friendships that I'm doing all the work to maintain, and I'm inviting you to something and you're giving me, oh, I don't feel good today, or my kid is sick and they can't come to your thing. And then you post a video the very next day or a picture the very next day of you at somebody else's thing. And so I had to it just was like, okay, I'm having to remove myself from so many relationships, which was a good thing because a lot of those relationships were one-sided anyway. But also too, just in little things like my mom, for instance, you've never been to one single solitary, sporting event of my 3 kids. I have a almost 30-year-old son. I have my 23-year-old who played sports every single sports season since he was 10. And then my 16-year-old, you've never been to any of my grandmother, when he was my 16-year-old, he used to play the drum. Well, he still plays the drums. I wish he would get back into that. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. He would play drums. My grandmother would put him in drum lessons. She put him in these musicals and all the things. He played drums at their church. Like, he was very much in that. My family never had any interest in my kids, is what I'm trying to say. And so then I would see my mom tell me how she can't do these things because they live up north and we don't have gas and we don't this and we don't that. And then I see you at my sister's kids' stuff. And that shit was just eating me so bad. And so I just removed myself. I am not like, I'll pop in here and there. I'll be trying to I'll get on there maybe one day. I'll be like, oh, let me see how such and such is doing. Or let me send such and such a message. And I'll go on Facebook to send a message. Before you know it, I done scrolled for an hour or two. And then I think, oh, I missed this. And then I'll make a post like, hey, y'all know I've been going, I'm back. Ha! and you'll never hear from me again for 3 years. Like, that's been my social media experience. I don't have social media for personal reasons anymore. I just don't. I only have social media for my brand. My village has no elders, where I'm trying to do the things that I'm trying to do. And so just saying all of that to say, just the relationship with my mother. And you may not hear me ever really talk about my father. My father passed away. Wow. My second baby was 3 months old. Okay, so we're talking 10 years ago almost since my dad passed. Wow, has it been that long? Yeah. Yeah, because my fourth child was born in 2014. Yeah. My baby was born in February and my father passed away in May. So, yep, 2014, 10 years ago. And he and I have also had a very rocky relationship all my life. We were just starting to rebuild, like really, we tried to rebuild a bunch of times, but this was the first time we were really trying to rebuild. And within a year of us really working on our relationship, my father passed away. One thing I will say that I respected of him, that I respected from him, that I respected about him, I should say, that I got from him, that I've yet to ever get from my mother, was a genuine apology with changed behavior. We didn't get to sit in that for very long, but it wasn't like one of those deathbed situations where, you know, a father tells their kid whom they weren't really present in their life, like, you know, I always loved you, or I this or I that, and they're just telling you this is because it's the last chance that they got. It wasn't like that with my dad. He really tried to make sure I knew he loved me, and he just ran out. Back to my dad, or back to my mom and my family. Just this sobriety journey. Oh, I forgot I have coffee. It's probably getting so cold. I brewed it. It's just sitting there. This sobriety journey has given me such a clarity and a presence of mind that has just been really having me deep in thought about a lot of things, and just understanding certain things that were kind of out of my control, if you will, or certain things that maybe my mind just kind of pushed to the side because, let me make my coffee so I can focus. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm still making my coffee, but I'm already losing my train of thought. But anyway, so we're at the point now where, and again, I apologize if this is all over the place. I'm just going to talk about what I'm feeling, and I'm not going to care, and I'm not going to censor myself, and, oh, that's good. Maybe a splash more. Perfect. I'm not going to censor myself, and I'm going to let myself feel what I feel and tell my message. And, you know, what they be saying, what the YouTubers and the TikTokers be saying, I don't know who needs to hear this, but I'm going to let the message be said as the way the message is being said, and I'm not about to sit up here and censor it, and I don't care who cares or gets mad about it. So, I have been having lately a lot of emotional feelings. I told you with the sobriety journey, like a lot of emotional feelings. And as a result, shucks, hang on, what the hell? Oh, so I've been doing so much reflecting and just understanding, like, it's just been so many things have been coming clear to me, right? I've done so much writing. Oh my goodness, I can't even, the amount of writing that I've done. But anyways, one thing that I talk about a lot is the idea that I'm not of the belief system of what happens in this house stays in this house. That's a Black person trope. That is like our anthem, our theme song of life. What happens in this house stays in this house. No, it doesn't. And that's the reason why, actually, no, it actually does. But see, that's the reason why there is so much abuse and neglect and harm happening, because we would rather preserve the image of, oh, we good over here, and let all these things get swept up underneath the rug. Meanwhile, the person who's being abused continues to go abused or neglected or harmed or unheard and unseen, because we think it's better to sweep it under the rug than it is to call it out, face it, heal it, and move on. We keep talking about this idea of a generational curse. Another thing I don't believe in. There's no generational curse. I made a video about that too. A curse, and just look up the word. Look up Google's definition of curse. A curse is like something someone places on you. It's bad juju. It's like
witch doctors or wherever somewhere is in there, brewing up some tea of some sort and sprinkling it on your lineage, and your lineage is cursed to have toxic mothers forever because you cursed to. No. Your lineage is, or destined, I should say, to have toxic mothers keep going on and on because you guys keep teaching it from one generation to the next. Nobody is brave enough to stand up and say, what we've been doing in this family is bullshit. Well, and here's another Black family anthem. Well, that's how I was raised. Well, that's how I was taught to do it. Well, if you was taught to cook burnt ribs every year and nobody eats the burnt ribs and they're disgusting and they're nasty and they're just, you throwing money out the window, would you keep on making burnt ribs, or would you learn how to cook the ribs better than what Big Mama knew how to do? And then she learned it from her Big Mama. No, stop with this curse crap. It's a habit. Your mother learned toxic parenting style from her mother, who learned it from her mother. And it just kept getting passed down to now it's on you. And because you learned this toxic parenting style, you're then now raising your kids with that style, who's then raising their kids with that style. No one's cursed to keep doing that. It's a habit that no one wants to break until you get somebody that's willing to be the generational habit breaker. Fortunately, the generational habit breaker is typically met with so much resistance from the people in the fucking family that they end up broken. I'm the truth teller in my family system. I'm the truth teller and I'm the scapegoat. Those are things I can't control because those are labels that I didn't place on myself. They were placed on me. And with those labels came the treatment that those labels carried. I can't control that. All I can do is keep fighting against it and keep seeking healing, and I'm going to do that. But I got a label that I'm going to place on myself, and it's called generational habit breaker. With that, with any person that's a whistleblower, executing such things is going to bring a lot of dirt onto you, and it's going to be hard. I'm prepared for that challenge now. You see, the one thing that kept me vulnerable and that kept me unable to really stand strong in my purpose was alcohol. I knew, and every single time I would pray to God and I would ask God to do certain things in my life, I knew the one thing holding me back from that was alcohol. And one day I just got sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I asked God to take that craving, take this addiction up off of me. And I haven't drank again since then. 28 days ago. No, 29 days ago. And I'm far from recovered. I don't think you're ever recovered, as I'm learning. You're never recovered from alcoholism. You're always in a state of recovery. But I'm well on my way. And in this recovery journey has come this sense of, like I said, mental clarity. And God keeps dropping little things in my spirit. He'll wake me up in the middle of the night, always in the middle of the night, and I can't sleep. And it's just on me. It's just on me. And he put something on me yesterday that I wrote it down in my phone because I was like, I'm not about to get up. Normally I would get up and get my little leather bound journal and write it. I was like, I'm not about to get up and do that right now. So I'm just going to put it in my phone. And so, what is that? I don't know what that's about. I just sent it to myself. I don't know what I was doing there, but anyways, there was a URL in my thing. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. The message that he put on me was, if you're more mad at me or about the methods I choose to get my healing, then you are at the person who caused me to need the healing in the first place. Then you are a part of the problem. So getting you to my siblings and anybody else in my family who has stood by and watched, participated in, because some of my siblings have participated in the harm done to me and participated in the harm that our mother has done to you. And you've been more upset with me for the decisions in the way that I've chosen to get my healing than you are with the person who's harmed the person you claim to love. You're part of the problem. If you got more smoke with me in my methods of getting my healing than you do with the person who caused us to need to heal.
you're a part of this problem. Not only do I have the right to heal from the trauma that our mother caused me, but you have the right to heal from the trauma that our mother caused you too. You think you're honoring her by not saying anything to her. You think you're honoring her by allowing her to continue to harm not just us, but she's harmed a lot of people. You're not honoring her by doing that. You're complicit, standing up to your mother and telling your mother that she's dead wrong and that you are not going to participate in her harming people. It's not you getting in the middle. It is not you taking one side over another. It's you doing what's right. And that goes for anybody. Because my mother is the kind of person where she doesn't harm you in the dark and in the quiet. She harms you in front of everybody. And then it gets mad at you for talking about it. Your pastor and his first lady, who bore witness to some atrocities that you've done, of encouraging you to do better, they encouraged you to contact adult protective services on me. They're not guiding you to the gates of heaven, Mom. They're guiding you to hell. You guys put too much weight and too much uplifting the name Mom simply because she's your mom. Someone having the title of mom doesn't give them the key to the city to destroy someone else's life, especially the life they created. And someone holding the title of pastor or first lady, they should be held to a higher standard because they've been held to a higher calling. And you don't get to harm people and everybody stand around and watch this person destroy lives and no one do anything except for punish the person who's trying to make her do better. You don't get to do that. And if you're doing that, then you're an accomplice to whatever damage and harm she causes moving forward. You don't get to do that. So I say all of that to say, your family doesn't get to do that to you either. It's not disrespectful to hold your parent accountable. It's not disrespecting them to set boundaries and to prevent them from hurting you further. It doesn't go against scripture of honor thy mother and thy father to set space in between someone who is not also willing to honor you. You didn't ask to be here. They made the decision. And if they didn't give you up for adoption and they kept you in their care, then they're responsible for ensuring that you receive the care that you're entitled to. Keeping what happens in this house is doing far more damage than it's doing good. People are suffering with stuff and are being further abused because we're keeping things in. You don't have to keep keeping things in. Let it out. It's okay to get therapy and talk to people who are trained. You can still talk to your pastor, but don't let the buck stop there. The pastor can help you with your spiritual healing. But in mental health, there's another piece of element that they can't teach unless they've gone to school for it. And Christianity and therapy can coexist. And one more thing, can we please stop saying that? I don't claim that. When you say you don't claim something, then you're not giving yourself a chance to heal from it. You're not even giving God a chance to heal you or help you come through it because you're not admitting that it's there. It's okay to say, I feel depressed and I think I might need some help. You're not claiming depression. You're asking for help and you're seeking it. And it's okay to do that. I told someone I love about a month ago that I said, I'm an alcoholic. Alcoholism got away from me and I'm in trouble. And I'm 2 or 3 days sober today, something like that. And they said to me, do you believe in that though? They didn't mean any harm by that. They weren't trying to harm me. They were just trying to say, don't believe in it. Just keep pushing. I can't. To keep pushing, I would have ended up with all kinds of things. Someone in my comment section of one of my videos told me that they were 38 years old on hospice because of drinking. I have babies still. What if I listened to someone tell me don't claim alcoholism? I wouldn't have been seeking help if I didn't admit that I had a problem. You can admit that you have a problem and ask for help. It doesn't mean you're claiming anything. You're acknowledging your truth and you're seeking to get better. Anyways, I told you I've never had more mental clarity than I have had over the last month. And it's taken me on an emotional roller coaster. It has taken me on an emotional roller coaster. But the journey is just beginning. And I'm worth that. I'm worth that. I'm worth that. I'm worth that. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Since you're already here, you might as well watch another video. I'll just put it right here for you. It's right here. It's just one little click. Go ahead. So we can be together longer, okay? Alrighty, I'll see you in the next one.